North Africa, between 1940 and 1943, turned the Second World War into a fight against the map itself. British forces, later joined by Americans, faced German and Italian troops across open desert, where oil, the Suez Canal, and survival all mattered. The campaign produced tank battles on bare ground, fought as a moving chase for the next useful ridge, road, or supply line. But the enemy was never only the army across the sand. Heat, thirst, dust, and distance shaped every decision, and the measures both sides took can feel almost unreal from the comfort of a modern room. In that desert, the first battle was simply staying alive. Daytime heat could climb past 50 degrees Celsius, while nights could fall below freezing, so exposure alone could kill a man. Water mattered more than rifles or numbers because the desert gave almost none. Collecting it, moving it, and keeping it clean demanded constant improvisation. British water cans failed so badly in rough conditions that they copied the stronger German design, the jerry can. Pipelines and water trucks kept units moving, but they also became tempting targets. Destroy the water, and an enemy force could collapse in days without a major fight. Where water was scarce, sand was endless. It got into eyes, mouths, lungs, food, drinking water, weapons, tanks, artillery, vehicles, watches, and compasses. Machines paid for it fast. In desert service, vehicle engines could wear out 5 times sooner than under normal conditions. Then came the sandstorms. They could rise without warning, erase roads, bury tracks, and redraw the ground in minutes. Convoys had to bunch tightly together because visibility could drop to nothing and the lead vehicle's trail vanished almost at once. That kept men from getting lost, but it also made them a perfect target for artillery or aircraft. Even on clear days, the desert lied to the eye. Heat shimmer blurred the horizon until a crew could not tell whether a vehicle was coming closer, sitting still, or was only a wreck about a kilometre away. The ground offered 2 bad choices: stony ridges that punished movement, or dunes that vehicles could barely cross. Because the front was so wide, mines were laid on a huge scale. Sandstorms could shift the fields, and some still kill people who stumble onto them. Mine detectors appeared, but early ones were not trusted. Often the safer method was a bayonet pushed carefully into the sand. That grim work often fell to prisoners of war, with the blunt logic that the men who had laid mines should clear them. Infantry life was little kinder. Many soldiers lived in tents or slept in the open, exposed to punishing heat by day and bitter cold at night. With water too precious to waste, washing was rare. Skin disease, lice, and parasites spread easily. Any attempt to eat or cool down brought swarms of flies, turning even a small comfort into misery. Scorpions and snakes added one more danger. For British soldiers, there was no home leave during the 3-year campaign. Cairo, Alexandria, or the sea were the rare escape. Most days were spent preparing for the next attack. In a landscape with almost no natural cover, both sides built their own. Barbed wire, minefields, trenches, dugouts, and walls of sandbags filled under a brutal sun. Anti-aircraft guns and anti-tank guns had to be ready at any hour. After water, fuel was the fluid that decided whether an armoured column could fight or simply stop. Motorized divisions lived on supply lines, so patrols and aircraft hunted them deep behind the front. Food, ammunition, fuel, and medical supplies all had to cross ground where any truck could become the target. The British answered that war of movement with the Long-Range Desert Group, trained and equipped to operate far behind enemy lines for weeks at a time. Yet even inside friendly lines, metal became its own torment. Think of a closed car in summer, then make it a tank, seal it in the desert, and add the engine and hydraulics. Crews could face heat stroke, on top of the normal claustrophobia and strain of fighting in armour. Sand cut visibility until enemy tanks might appear only at close range. Breakdowns were constant because heat and grit pushed both men and machines past their limits. Aircraft made the open desert even more dangerous. They scouted movement, struck tank formations, and hit artillery positions where there was almost nowhere to hide. Dive bombers and fighter bombers were feared on both sides, including the Axis Stuka and the Allied P-40 Warhawk. Survival depended on deception as much as armour. Vehicles were painted in sand colors, tanks were dressed up as trucks, and trucks could be made to look like tanks. Dummy tanks, dummy aircraft, and fake airfields muddied the enemy's picture. Even dust became a weapon, raised deliberately to suggest troops were moving where they were not. Rommel, for example, would attack across a broad front. In the desert, deception became part of the attack. Columns swung in wide arcs, then snapped onto a new course, leaving the Allies guessing where the next blow would fall. Trucks fitted with aircraft engines blasted sand into the air, making the assault look far larger than it was. For the men fighting there, every day brought physical punishment and mental strain, pushing them beyond normal human limits.